Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin Gunn. I'm coordinator of digital scholarship here at Catholic University of America Libraries. Welcome. This event workshop will be recorded and will be sent to you at a later date, as well as the handouts and slides and everything. So, all right, so let's get going. Today's workshop is on advanced OpenRefine for cleaning data. So I've added a little couple features in there from the previous workshop. So we'll see how things work out today. So what we're going to be doing is just talking very quickly about what is clean data and why do we want to clean it. I want to look at some common problems and solutions for cleaning data. And then we're going to look at a very quick introduction to general refine expression language that OpenRefine has. So it's quite a sophisticated package, and we can do a lot of cool things with it. So here we go. So what is data cleaning? So what are you doing? Your data cleaning is the process of fixing or removing, incorrect data, corrupted data, incorrectly formatted data. I mean, you can have duplicate data, you can have incomplete data. Anything that's within a data set that is not basically consistent with what you want to have. So you are looking at, there are many reasons why you want to clean data. You want to improve the accuracy of your data. You want to enhance the data quality. You want to reduce the noise or even remove it if you can. You want to increase efficiency of the data. You want to facilitate decision-making with that data. You got to have a really great, solid data set that you can trust. It can improve data integration with other data sets. How is it compliant with all the data standards that are out there? It can help you with enhancing your data interpretation. There's boost confidence in your results if you know that your structured data is well formed, and it also helps you prevent misleading conclusions. So if your data is inconsistent, you may come up with some conclusions that are kind of weird in that. And there's been many examples in the scientific literature where people go back to the data set and look at it and say, well, that's crap, that doesn't work. So your results, your paper is crap. And then you have to retract your paper, basically. So Hadley Wickham's got a great article about 10, 11 years ago called Tidy Data. And I really recommend to anyone who's starting out in this area just to think about your data and how it should be tidy. So you want a structured data set so you can do analysis. So what is it? It's a collection of values so that every value belongs to a variable and an observation. So you always want to keep that in mind when you're creating your data set. So what standards do you want to shoot for? Well, you want your tidy data to be have, each variable will form a column, each observation will form a row, then each type of observational unit forms a table. So at the end, you're going to be working with structured data and hopefully a data set that is quite consistent, robust, and reproducible. Now, there's a lot of software packages out there that you can pay for and use in order to clean data before you analyze it. But OpenRefine is free. So it's very much a powerful tool for working with messy data, cleaning it, transforming it from one format into another, and extending it with web services and external data. So it's a very robust software package. One can do a lot with it here, and I can only show you some of the more common things that you can do with it today. It's kind of weird. It has the characteristics of a spreadsheet, sort of like Excel, but it's not a spreadsheet. It works more like a relational database, and you'll see what I mean there. So what type of tasks can you do with this? OpenRefine does, the community does a survey every couple of years, and they just published the results from December. So this is a screenshot from their September page down there. I recommend taking a look at it and see what other people are doing. It's a great read. So, they ask, how frequently are you doing various things? And folks came back and mentioned, once per day or once per week. So if you look at the green and the blue aspects of all these, they have the general thing, using OpenRefine. Okay, not very helpful. But if you look at data exploration, data cleaning without GREL, data cleaning with GREL, you notice that these are used quite a bit, like 40, looks like 40% use it at least once a week for cleaning with GREL. So it has a very common usages, and once that there's a bit of a learning curve with GREL and that, but once you get into it, you can do a lot of stuff with your data. And then they list other things here, everything from using APIs and data migration, that sort of thing. So reconciliation services are listed here as well. That's one of the things we'll look at today. We'll give an example of how you can pull stuff from elsewhere and put it into your own data set. So reconciliation services, they ask, how do you use it? And most of the folks use Wikidata. That is the default package that's within OpenRefine, which is fine. But if you have other services available that you want to check out, you can use them. You can see a lot of the common ones here, the Getty vocabularies, probably for artists, Wikimedia Commons, VIAF as well, I think for names. So as you go down the list, you see even ORCID. So if you're working on, your scholarly profile type thing, this is something that you can manipulate. And then this goes down to foreign places here. So it's very much an international, used internationally. So what we'll be looking at today, 5 main features of the package, and that's faceted searching, filtering, look how we can cluster our data, messy data, we'll transform it, and then last thing we'll do is reconcile our data. All right. Okay. So we have, I recommend downloading OpenRefine before this workshop. I don't want to go through it. I just wanted to show you a few things. And I also have under this page here, bit.ly.ly, OpenRefine data sets. That's where all the packages is. I'll put these into the chat in a second here. Okay. All right, so I clicked on where to download OpenRefine. Let's go put that in the chat. Since we're here. There you go. Okay, so I put 2 links into the chat. Google folder has our sample data sets we'll use, and also the handout, and I'll be walking through the handout step by step. So if you miss a step here, you're watching, just check out the handout, use the handout. You can go in and redo the process. All right, so here it is. We're using 3.8.7. This is a software package that is updated regularly, so it's pretty cool in that sense. Pretty straightforward to install and set up, with one caveat, and I'll show you that in a minute. You'll notice here, down here it says, see the extensions for additional ways to extend OpenRefine. So if you find yourself, deep into a data set and you need to do some special things here, you may think that, well, maybe there isn't a way I can do that in OpenRefine. Well, I would check the extensions. that they have listed here. So they have a number of latest things here. So if you're looking for JavaScript, you're right into JavaScript and that, you can do that. They have a lot of GIS material, so OpenStreetMap, Geo, JSON export, all these different things here. I'm not going to belabor any of this, but just to show you what you can do with a lot of Geo material here. They also have legacy material here that hasn't been updated in a while, so you sort of have to think, maybe I don't, maybe I want to use it, maybe I don't. So it's always good to check that out. All right, so what I'm going to do is go right here to extensions, and then we'll go to, yeah, all right. What I'm going to do is going to run the program. You'll find that it will be a diamond like this. You see this little diamond at the top left-hand corner. That's what the icon will be when you install it on your on your computer. So that's what you want to look for. I'm going to click on this. I've got it on my taskbar. And if it loads successfully, you will have this page. And also telling the bottom left-hand corner here what the version is, 3.8.7. So you know you're using the latest version. Now, you may have noticed something that happened while you're doing this. A little black box opened up, and I'm going to show this to you. Right here. This little black box opened up. It's a little server. It runs in the background. So just ignore it and continue using the browser that was open. I should mention very specifically here that you must keep this open. If you close this accidentally, my recommendation is to close the browser and then start all over again, because it simply won't work without the the black box open. So please do keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to leave that, and we're going to. All right. Okay. Here we are, the good stuff. So what we have here is the main page here. You can create a project, open a project, import it, and then there's all these language settings. You can also, using this particular, all right, so you can bring in a whole bunch of different software, pardon me, data files within here with the various extensions. So it's quite robust in that sense. If you looked at, you can download from this computer. I recommend the data sets that I showed you to download onto your own computer and use them there. You can always down here, it says Google Data, and then you can sign into your thing and then go use it, but it's going to be your Google Drive, not mine. So that's where it is right now. So save it to your own computer. So you do have the option of allowing Google access to your data and all that sort of stuff if you want to put it in there. It's always an option. I usually use this computer and go with that. You can do web URL. So if you have a dedicated URL where you know you can download this data and it can upload into OpenRefine, then you can do that. There's also clipboard database. You can see it can get kind of sophisticated in that sense. So I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to stick with this computer today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Browse. And this pops up my folder, which I've saved on my own desktop. And what we're going to look at today is Authors People. And I probably should rename that because it doesn't tell you a lot. But it is actually the comic book collection, or part of it, from the British Library. And you'll notice in the handout how that is designated. So here it is. It's loaded up, a CSV comma separated value. I'm going to go to next. And here we are. Now you'll notice this page here is doing a number of things. First of all, It's letting us get acquainted with our data. So we can take a look at it and go, oh boy, we got a lot of stuff to clean up here. Look at this author persons. They got a number in here. Maybe the guy's name is a number. I don't know. Probably not. So we have names listed down here. Great. So we can start asking questions, how we should go approach this. So we have the last name and the first name in one column. Well, do we want to do that, or do we want to have a separate column for last names and a separate column for first names? Questions like that we have to ask. We also have to look at cleaning data. For example, here's a period after Jason here in the 8th row, and you scroll down, it seems to be kind of common going through here. So I thought, oh, maybe that's something I'm going to have to clean up in order to have consistent columns. As I look through here, I notice other things like private lines here. There's a space and a colon, and then no space. Well, maybe that's not too great. Different titles listed here. Friday the 13th, same title. Friday the 13th here. Oh, 2 different locations, 2 different publishers, same year. So do we want to treat that as one record? These are the sorts of questions we have to ask. We have little cleanups like, for example, brackets under place of publication. We have brackets, we have question marks, we have all these sorts of things. We have just the city listed, and then we have, also the state. So there's a lot of stuff that we have to do and break it down in order to get this data set serviceable. You'll even notice here under data publication, that little copyright sign here, and then brackets and periods. And you get a sense, right? If you look at ISBNs, you've got more than one listed. You've got the paperback. Well, we don't have to list them that. PBK, paperback, just a lot of, even the publisher name listed here. It's just a lot of cleanup that's going to have to be done here. And I suspect with ISBNs, this one here, you probably want to use some type of GREL function or functions to go through quickly. So we're getting a sense of all this, and I'm going, okay, I got a big job ahead of me. If I go down to this second half of this, bottom half of the screen, it says you can look at your parsed data by a number of different ways. So if you look at, it read our data and said, oh yeah, it's comma separated value, right? So it listed that here, and it gave the features of that. So you have character encoding listed here. You have the columns separated by, hey, guess what, CSV, and then quotation marks, nothing for trim or leading. So there are things you can start to do right now if you so desired, but I would not do so at this point. You'll notice on the left-hand side all the different files types of files that you can load. So anywhere from JSON files to good old-fashioned mark catalog files. So you've got Wikipedia XML and even Excel files listed there. I've used Excel files in the past, and they load slightly different than a CSV file that was done in Excel. So there's always these little quirks and quirks with regards to loading. So the simpler data you can use, the better. Now, data set you can use, the better in terms of its extension. Now, looking at character encoding here, sometimes, it says Windows 1252. So it's using, the standard one that Windows generally uses. So it lists these here. These are the most common encodings here. But if you want to get really sophisticated, you can go into all encodings, and they'll list many, many, many ones. So if you're looking for a particular ISO standard, for example, this is something that you can, you definitely want to take a look at. All right, so I just wanted to point those out to you. They can get very sophisticated in terms of the type of data set that you're uploading. All right, so we looked at this and we've decided, yeah, we do want to work on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our project a name. Let me do this. And so authors, people, CSV. I'm going to just drop the CSV here. And I'll do authors underscore here. All right, so we've just looked at, notice I've been clicking on these various fields, but nothing's happening, okay? So it's just a way of looking at your data. But what we're going to do now is we're going to create the project. And here we go. So it's given us the first 10 records here. I'm going to go to 100, click on there. There we go. We get a better sense of it this way. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is these little diamonds listed right here. Triangles, diamonds. And if you were to click on one of them, I'm going to do author persons here, you'll notice you start to get a number of features. And if you click on some of these arrows, you can do a lot more with them. So we're not going to do all of these, believe me, today, but it's a good way to explore and see how you can work with all this data. Different ways you can work with that. All right, so what we're going to do is work our way through the handout here, and I'm just going to show you all little tips and tricks. So after half an hour or so, you're going to be in a different spot intellectually, seeing how to use this software, and I think you'll appreciate it. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at facet data. So we don't want to look at the whole data set. We want to look at portions of it and then do stuff with portions of this data set. So what we're going to do is we're going to go under the publisher column. And I'm going to click on there. And we're going to go select facet. Then we're going to select text facet because we just want to look at the text right now. So we do that. And then on the left-hand side here, we see a pop-up menu that came. So I'm going to expand this down. There we go. So we're looking at the publisher and we're seeing a list of publishers. Who knew? Who knew? So you'll notice lots of variety here. And you'll notice there's little numbers next to them telling you that there are 3 records for Associated Newspapers Group, that sort of thing. So that's very interesting, but we want to focus on something here. We want to go and scroll. Let's see. What we want to do is we want to go down to Titan. So I'm going to scroll all the way down to Titan. And there we are. So here we have Titan, commonly known as Titan Books. In this particular data set, we have 3,627, but if you look further down, we have all these Titan records. So first thing is, are they all part of the same publisher? So one of the things that you have to be aware of is to bring your own knowledge to this particular database, a data set, and see what you can do with it. So you have to make assumptions going along here that all these Titan references refer to the same place, same publisher. So if I were to look at this one right here, if I put my mouse over here, I notice that I can edit or include this particular one. So if I click on Titan Books, it will give me these 2 records. And I can go in and take a look at this. Maybe it'll provide some insight or something. So probably not. You can also exclude it from the larger data set if you wanted. So I think that's a very cool feature. So I'm going to click on that. So I don't want to look at that again. So I just clicked on Titan Book again, and it brought me back to the long page. So I want to edit this particular record. So here is Titan Book. So I'm going to change this. Now, I'm pretty confident it's going to be Titan Books. You'll notice right below here, Titan Books 369. So I'm going to make that change. And voila, 369, it added two, so now it's 371. So started to clean up my data here. So that's the first thing to notice. The second thing to notice is this right here, Titan Books and Titan Books. Well, what's up with that exactly? So I'm going to look at this edit, and you notice Titan Books, nice, crisp, neat, right here, that. And then I'm going to go to Titan Books 3, and I'm going to edit that. Did you notice the difference? There is a space right behind the second. So there's a white space that's hiding, which differentiates between that and the Titan Books that has no spacing. So I'm going to remove that. There we go. And I'm going to apply it. There. Now I put it all under Titan Books. So you very quick way that one can look at the data and start doing it on a title name basis if one wants to do this. So it's not a quick way of doing it, but you can do it that way if you want to. Okay. So you'll notice at the top here, before we get too far into it, um, you'll notice facet filters listed here. You also notice undo, redo. So I'm going to click on that. And this gives me a list of the work I've done so far on this. So let's say I made that change and then I realized, oh no, that's a mistake. Well, I can simply go back and click on the previous one here. And that will help me. So I can go back to that and not worry about that. So here it is, Titan Books 3. So if I went a little bit too far, I can always scale it back. So there's no way that you can screw things up if you get rid of it. Okay, so it's always great. You can always use the undo feature. Now, here's what you need to know. So let's say you did this and you realize this is great. I actually wanted that, so I'm going to go back to this. I've done some work now, but now I have to go off to class or work or whatever. What you can do is you can go to export. And in this particular case, you have a number of different options you can to download. In this case, we could use comma separated value. And boom, there it is. But I'll tell you right now, up until that point, you have not saved it. So it's very important when you do get to a milestone, if you will, in cleaning your data, I highly recommend that you save it. So always good advice. All right, so here we are using faceted data. Now, what we want to do is we want to do the second thing, and that is filter data. So we are going to go and do this. We're going to clean this out. I'm going to close this. There we go. Like that. So we're back to this. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to publisher column again. There you go. And we're going to go to publisher and text filter. So now we're doing filtering. And here we go. So we don't want to look at the complete data set. We just want to look at Titan. So I'm going to type in just Titan in lower cases, right? And what happened? It gave me 4684. Oh, okay. Sounds good. Let me type 4684. Let me do Titan with a big T. Again, 4684. There's no change, right? So one quick way you can tell if everything's uppercase and lowercase. So you can do case sensitive. And this tells me that all the Titans are capitalized. So now quick way that you can keep track of your data, making sure that proper names get their respect and that. So there you go. Very quick. And this will pop back out that way. Right, so what we can do, let's do this. Okay, we're going to edit cells. And the next step here, what are we going to do? Yes, that's right. So what we're going to do here is we can go under on the within the data set, we can click on a particular record here. So edit this cell. And we can look at it and go, you know what, I'm going to get rid of the brackets. So there we go. And I can apply it just to that one cell. Now, not terribly efficient when you're dealing with 4,600, right? But you can do it that way. You'll also notice up here, we're dealing with text. So the data type is text. I'll show you a quick number a little bit later. There's also Boolean and date, but I'm not going to show those today. So we're just doing text. You can apply it to this cell, or you can apply it to all identical cells. So let me do this. I'm going to click on all identical cells. And you'll notice up here at the top, mass edit 304 cells and call in place of a publication. And you go, oh, I don't want to do that. I can click undo if I wanted to do that. So very quickly, just in one cell, you can say, you know what, I'm going to clean that up. So this is kind of excellent because if there's a common error, common cleanup thing that you got to do, task, then that's a quick way to go through the column and clean up very quickly. So here it didn't do the brackets and the question mark. So we'll do that. Let's do that again. There we go, 99 cells. So all of a sudden, look at this, we're getting consistency right across there. So nice little feature in doing that. Okay. Now let's say I'm not interested in Titan today. I'm interested in everyone but Titan. So what I can do, I'm going to clean this out. So I go back to my original 17400. I'm going to do publisher, text filter. I'm going to do Titan. There we go. And then I'm going to do invert right here. So there it is. That's everyone but Titan. So if I wanted to at this point, hey, I'm done, I could now save this and not worry about Titan if I wanted to moving ahead. So again, that's something to consider when you're trying to go through your data. Nice little feature. And we'll click on that. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so the next one we're going to show is clustering data. So I'm going to clear this out. Let's do that. Click on that. So we're back to our original database, data set. And what we're going to do is going to go to cluster, another method you can bring a lot of data together quickly. So we're going to go under publisher. And we're going to go to edit cells. And we could do a number of these. What we're going to do is going to do cluster and edit. And this brings up this page here, which is really gnarly. I love this. So it's defaulting to the key collision method and the keying function known as fingerprint. Under method, you have key collision and nearest neighbor. Under keying function, you have, all these algorithms, these different types of algorithms that you can use. So if you're really into that sort of thing, I highly recommend checking out find out more right here. And I'm going to just click on that very quickly. And this will tell you the different types of algorithms, what they're designed to do, and that sort of thing. So it really does get into the deep end here. So you can click this document and go to whatever. So we're just going to use the default for today's session. So good to know. All right, so we want to click clustering and columns and that sort of thing. And before I do that, I just realized, so if I were to do that, it would be on the entire data set, and which would be a pretty kind of a long list, to be perfectly honest with you. So what I'm going to do instead is just go under text filter. Oh, oh, pardon me, silly man, publisher. There you go. And what I'm going to do is under publisher, go to edit cells and cluster and edit. So here it is. I'm all set up, and now I'm going to go under, click the cluster, and this page will come up. So we won't worry about these graphs right now. What we want to do is look at the left-hand side here. What it does, it begins using these methods and keying function. It looks at your material, and it goes through and says, okay, I'm going to start clustering. Here you go, 3,600 rows and all this sort of stuff listed here. So I scroll down and I've got all these listed. So if I'm confident that Titan Books in association with 2000 AD is the same as Titan Books here, the distributor and all that, then what I can do is I can click on this, merge this and this and this, and why not do that as well? The last two, and then I can give it my own name. So I can merge these, merge selected and cluster. So I can do it a step-by-step process until I feel good. So if I do merge, select, and close, let's do that. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay. Hey, look at that. We missed one right here. What happened there? You know, we missed one, but we got most of them, right? We got most of them. So if we go scroll through, oh, look at that. Nasty. Look at this, incomplete brackets. That's why we missed that. And the clustering method missed that. So once you do the clustering, you have to go through and take another look at it. So let's do this again, and let's see if it helps us. Okay, so it says, nope, not going to happen. So at this point, we're going to have to go through and clean it up ourselves. So if we have all this method here, I would just go delete, apply to all. We got 24, 25 more listed in here. Go in here, edit. So some of it can be done automatically. Sometimes, other times it's not going to be 122 there. So going through, and it's looking, yeah, it looks much better. So the first 100 looks quite good. So that's sort of how you do it. And clustering can be a real time saver too, but you gotta make sure you're clustering the right things together. All right, the next one is transforming data. So what we want to do is we want to go, so there's two different ways that you can transform data, and that's by the preset transformations that are within a particular item, a particular data set. And then there's the whole GREL functions that one can use. So let me demonstrate those very quickly here. I am going to close that, undo that. Let's see, I'll do that. There we go. So I step back a little bit just for fun. We're going to go to transforming data. So we're going to go to publisher. We're going to go to edit cells. So right here. and common transformation. So, trim leading and trailing white space, very common. You can change these different things in here. So you can go to title case, uppercase, lowercase, all these sorts of things, number, date, text, and that. So let me click on the white space and it'll tell you up here, 541 cells, and you'll see value.trim. We'll get to that in a second. Okay. Okay, so that's that. We can look under author names. Let's go to author names here. And we're going to look under GREL. So we're going to go to edit cells and we're going to transform. And we're going to do a change here. So here we have the language. You can use Python or Clojure if you want to. We're going to stick with the general refine expression language. So you'll notice right here, it has value. So what that means is that it's showing this value here, which is the column author persons, and then it's just returning that value, so no big deal. But we want to do something more with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in value.replace. I'm going to close it up with parentheses, a single bracket, and we're going to look at, so we're looking at here, right down here, we see, the whole period thing, right? All the periods here. We want to get rid of that period. We don't like it there. So we're going to do this. So it says, okay, value replace. So find comma. Anything that's a comma is going to go in there. So that's the first expression. And then what we're going to do is we're going to replace it with nothing. So I just put in two close parentheses in there. So first of all, it tells me no syntax error. So that's a good thing. And if we go down here, it says, okay, is this what I want? And I look, we got periods listed here. So what is going on, right? Is that something we have to change? Let's see what happens. Okay, so we transformed 16,000 cells in here. So we basically got rid of commas, and that was a mistake. We wanted periods, not commas. So, okay, no problem, don't panic. We can go back to undo and we can redo that search again. So you notice it didn't seem right to me right there, but that's okay. All right, here, let's see. We'll go to transform. And here, let's say we try that one again. So value, replace. This time we're going to put in the period. Thank you very much. Comma. And then we're going to put in no space whatsoever. And we do that. And we look at this time, it's all gone. The periods are gone. So there you go. So 10,000 cells changed. And you'll notice right away they're all gone. So, that's a beginning, a way that one can clean up this particular column as well, just by transforming that data. So now you can also do undo, as I mentioned here. So I'm going to leave this as is for now. And let's say I'm finished with my work for today. So I can go to export. And I click on that. And I'm going to do that right here. So I have this list here. I'm going to go to custom tabular. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to show me the content of this data set. So it lists all these different things here that are here. What I really like about this is that you can export this and be selective in what columns that you want to put into your new data set that you want to export. So if I don't want the British Library record here, I can just delete it. It will not come with me to the next level. So that is another great feature I love about that. You only take what you want and move forward with it. So, all right, so I'm going to show that as well. Okay, So are there any questions with regards to this data set? So I showed you the four big ones, and now I'm going to play around with the four again, but using two different data sets. So do you have any questions about the British Library comic collection?
Not right now. I'm just I have no experience with this, so I'm just observing. So thanks
Yeah.
for showing me this first part.
This will keep you busy, let me tell you.
Yeah, it looks great, very useful.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to move on then. And I noticed right here, let's see. Oh, yeah, okay. So that's export, right? But here's open. So let's say I want to start a new project. I can leave this one open. I can have a large number of browsers open, but it may impact the speed of your computer. So something to keep in mind. So I just clicked on open and this comes up nice and fresh. So I'm going to go here and the next one I'm going to look at is our powerhouse um, data set. Here's from the Powerhouse Museum down in Australia. You can tell it's coming from a museum right away. So that it's much more organized. Um, I don't see any, quick data errors come to mind. So that's kind of cool. The persistent link here, I should mention, they no longer work. They'll just go to the powerhousemuseum.com. So the data set is a little bit old, sorry, but you'll get a 404 if you click on any of these. So I just want to point that out to you. All right, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to create the project. Okay, so here we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the record ID, or should I say the object title, for facet searching. And I'm going to do numerical facet. And it'll tell me on the left-hand side that there's no numerical value present. Well, I guess that makes quite a bit of sense. Now, if I go under record ID and I do facet and numerical facet, it also gives me no numeric value present. And the reason for that is that it is reading this as text. So what we could do is what we can now go and what we can do is we can edit these cells. So we're going to go to record ID. We're going to edit cells. And we're going to do to common transformations. In this case, we're just going to turn it into a number. So there you go. It is now officially a number that you can manipulate. So in this case here, the more basic one is you can sort these in particular order. You'll notice that the number has turned green and that has moved to the right-hand side. So if you use Excel, then you'll have a similar results doing that. So it seems like these spreadsheets and that it does function like a spreadsheet in that sense. So now you know that you're dealing. So when you load something up and it comes up green, then you'll know you're doing with a numeric uh, um, what you call it, data type. That's that. All right. So if we want to edit the rows, we can go to all. We can edit rows, remove all matching rows. Boom, you got nothing. I always like to show it's kind of scary. Oh, but don't worry about that. So you can undo it. There we go. There we go. So we're back to that. I just like to show that. Okay, so we're going to go now to record ID. We're going to go to facet. And we're going to do customize facets. Ooh, customize facets there. And we're going to do facet by blank. Right? So that's that. And this is a good way to use if you want to look for a particular record ID in one cell. Right here. So, all right. So let's see if I can do that. So if you're looking for something that's a null string, a null or empty string, then that's one way you can bring it up in that regard. So that's looking strictly for the number. Okay, so next thing we want to do is we want to sort by numbers. So we want to go to record ID. We want to sort. And this will pop up this menu right here. And then you can sort by numbers, smallest first or largest first. Let's do smallest. And now 615, 616, 617, and 8. It's not all in numerical order right now. So that's one advantage using the number thing. Number option. Okay, so that's a quick way to use do work in a particular data set that's highly refined. So the next one we're going to use, if there's no questions about that, we're going to go to the Social Science Research Council Dijon set. This one's a fun set as well. I'm going to open this. New one, I'm going to go to Browse. I'm going to do Dijon Prices Wide. And that loads up. And you'll notice we have very odd looking data set. The commodities on the left, then the year up front and with the measures and prices. So I think we can do better in organizing this. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we are. I'll pull in 50. There we go. So what we want to do is we want to transpose, well, clean up the dates here. So we're going to go to transpose. What we're going to do is we're going to go to 1568. These are all dates. So we identify this as dates, the years in this particular case. So I'm going to start with 1568, and I'm going to transpose. And I'm going to transpose cells across columns into rows. So this is what brings up. It looks through that, and it goes through, okay, you have 1568 listed right here. And the last one's last column. That's good. So what do you want to do with this? You want to do one column, name it the year, because that's what it is. You want to prepend the original column's name to each cell. You want to ignore the blank cells. And you definitely want to fill down in other columns. So you want to do all the dates here, essentially. So once we do that and we transpose it, here we go. We're starting to get better results. Commodity, measure, and year. But look, we do have to do some work here. We have the year, but we also have what looks like the price. So I'm going to go to year, and I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to edit column. And I want to split into several columns here. So how do I do that? Well, I look at my original set here, and it has the date followed by a colon. I'll change that to colon as my separator. It says split into how many columns? Well, I just need two. So I'm going to click on that, and here we go. So here's one, year one. Oops, I want to do that. Year one here, and then year two here. So we can edit column. Oh, rename this column into just year. And then here we can edit column and call this price. And voila, we have a better looking data set right here. So the dates are jumping all over the place here, it looks like, with 1630 empty set here. So they appear to be in order. It's not the first one here. So we can go to year, we can sort A to Z. And there you go, starting with 1568, moving all the way to the end, 1630. So there you go. And that point you would save it. All right, so any questions about that? All right, the final one I'm going to show you, because it is getting on to 1 o'clock here, is reconciling data. So let us open up another project here. I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to browse. And I'm going to go to Canada Law Journals, Canadian Law Journals. And here we go. So here's a data set that I'm starting with. It has the code. Here's the title of the journal. Here's the coverage, and here's the documents. But let's say I want to get the international social serial number for this. So I want to, in other words, what I'm saying is I want to add more information to this, but from an external source. So what I can do is I can go under title. That seems to be the best bet. Select reconcile and then start reconciling. All righty. So I'm going to click on that. And at this point, you're going to get this page here. The Wikidata reconcile link, that's the default one for this one. So you can get a lot of material that way. You can add standard service. If you know the service that you're using, you can just put in the URL. You can discover services, and here's a listing here that gives you a lot of Wikidata has put this into a really excellent directory, and you can go through and look at all the stuff here. There's quite a bit listed here that you can pull on. We're not going to do that right now. So we're just going to do Wikidata, and we're going to go to next. So it takes a few seconds to load up. And it says, okay, what exactly, it appears to me I'm looking at these various things here. What's happening? It says, well, I only want to look at law reviews. So I'm going to click on this. And start reconciling. And so it's doing that work, and it takes a little bit of time. If it's a larger data set, then you know it's going to take much longer. And here we have a list of what was matched. So we have the 63 rows, and none were, there was 36 that were not matched. So it's not perfect, but it is very useful in that sense. So I'm looking at law reviews. I'm going to do matched right here. And we have 27 matching rows here. Now I want to look at another thing, and that is, let's say I want to get the ISSN. So what I do is I go under title. I go to edit column. I add columns from reconciled values. Right here, add columns from reconciled values. So another thing will pop up. And here is a listing of things that I could use. So if I wanted to use a Scopus database, or if I wanted to use Norwegian Registered Journal, I guess I could, don't know why. But I do want to use ISSN. So it's going to list all that, and it gives you a preview right here. And I go, oh, that's wonderful. So I click on it, and boom, there it is. You now have added material to your data set. So now we want to think, hey, you know what? I bet these journals have a website. Maybe we want to add a website as well. So we're going to do title. We're going to edit the column. We're going to add columns from reconciled values. And we go here and we look through here and I want website. So I'm scrolling down through here and I don't see any website. Does that mean nothing exists? Well, no. Just start typing. Start typing to get suggestions. So I'm going to type web and it gives me all this. So I like official website. Sounds official. So I'm going to click on that. And it gives me all these. So I'm going to click on that. And there you go. Now notice, it's not perfect. You'll see that the Canadian Bar Review doesn't have it, so you're going to have to go and search. But it can save you a lot of time bringing in good quality material using these reconciliation series. Okay. So on the handout, I gave more information. OpenRefine has more information. I put a link in there on the handout to reconciling. So a lot of stuff that you can bring into your data set that you can start manipulating that. Also, just to wrap up here, the Google Refine expression languages, I put some common functions on your handout. So I definitely recommend you just grab it and play with those for a while and just get some practical experience. So that is basically my presentation for today. Here, does anyone have any questions?
No, thanks so much. That was a great presentation. I'm going to attend the next one.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yeah, we got a whole bunch more coming down this semester. So,
Awesome.
oh yes,
Oh,
question.
sorry,
Yeah.
I had a question. Do you know if you can, with the transpose function, I mean, it's awesome that you can take like a string data and make it in numeric because that's great for like SPSS and things like that. But
Yeah.
can you take like recode text data? Do you know what I mean? Like if there's like Likert data, can you make it numeric quickly?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
But if you upload it into OpenRefine, like is it part of the data set that you have or you want to add it?
It's part of the data set. It's just, like right now it reads like always, never, sometimes, and it like just trying to recode quickly into like 1, 2, 3.
Okay. For something like that, what comes to mind would be a GREL function.
Okay.
And basically, because you want to say you want to take that particular item and say that's a 1, right? And then
Right.
another one at 2, and another one 3. So basically, that's kind of like replace,
Right. Okay.
which I just showed. I mean, that's what would be quickly come to mind. That's useful if you have, a small number of changes like 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it. It's
Right.
not so good if you're like doing 25 or something. That gets kind of
Right.
tedious, right? So in that case, you have to attack it somewhat differently. But yeah, I would start that way and see
Awesome.
what you get. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right. Well, I've kept you past 1 o'clock. Sorry, I tend to drone on. So I will let you go. Thank you very much for attending. Once the recording's available, I'll send it out to everyone. Okay. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you.